Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get Right with DigiByte. My name is Mike, and it's another fantastic day on the DigiByte blockchain. And I'm so excited to welcome back to the program RenzoDGB. Renzo is a developer who builds on the DigiByte blockchain many projects, including DigiFaucet, many functional DigiAssets, and his latest project, DigiByte Domains. Renzo, thank you for joining us on Get Right with DigiByte. How are you doing today?
Hey, Mike. Well, thanks for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. And I'm great and exciting. This has been a few busy but great days for me. A lot of fun into the development. And to release a project, it always comes with a lot of feelings and a lot of work also.
Yeah, well, we got a lot to get into today. I mean, as you said, you've been very busy. You've created and launched recently DigiByte Domains. So if you could just explain to us what exactly is a DigiByte domain.
Sure. A DGB domain, it's basically your own personal nickname on the DGB blockchain. It's a way for you to tag any address you like, or any addresses you like, by a simple name with some characters that ends on .dgb, which we all know is the acronym for DigiByte. So with this name, you will be able to receive funds just like an address, but you can share it more easily with your friends, with people on the internet, and someone just need to remember that nickname to identify you on the blockchain.
Well, that's fantastic. A lot of us, who are involved with, cryptocurrencies, when we share addresses, a lot of times it's just this kind of a random string of numbers and letters, and it's not impossible to, memorize them, but for most of us, it's not practical. So just, you know, being able to provide, a human readable name, something that's easy to remember and to, share with people, I think it's a huge step forward. For mass adoption because people can just again it makes it easier, more accessible to people out there to use it and to be able to send and receive digibytes from everyone. So I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I'm just wanted to add that with that domain, you handle the process of verifying the address to the software that you're using. For people, well, for us, it's kind of hard to distinguish between addresses because, for example, with public entities like I don't know the foundation or the alliance, when they have public addresses published on their websites, when we want to donate them, we usually copy them, put it on our wallet and send the balance, the DGB we want to send, right? And there's a problem here that not a lot of people is aware of, that you can't build yourself addresses that start or ends like some addresses that are already been published. You can look for this address. It doesn't take a lot of time for computers to generate. And if you only have that mechanism of looking the final letter of the address to send the digibit, you might be sent, or you may send digibit to one of those malicious addresses that someone published on the internet in order to send or to steal funds. And the domain solves this, of course, because you just need to memorize the domain of the entity you want to send to, or the person you want to send to, and that's it. The address or the wallet handles the second part for you.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really excited to utilize this functionality that's now on top of DigiByte. I do want to ask you: is this similar to like what is known as an unstoppable domain?
It has a similar system. There consists of some internal procedures using DigiAssets to know which domain points to which address. But on top of that, or when you do the extraction of that, yeah, the system is really similar to our other domain names. The main difference here is that all of those domain systems worked on the second generation coins or second generation blockchains, such as Ethereum and all the duplicate or hard forks that we have from there. This is the first domain system on a UTXO blockchain that I know of.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, sure, it solved this problem for coins or for DigiByte, which is a UTXO blockchain that does not support all the functionality, of course, as the second generation that are Turing complete, but um, it covers grand part or the major part of what these name systems can do.
Oh, that's great. And you can actually publish a website on this domain. Am I understanding that correctly?
Technically,
Or
well, with some work behind, maybe in the future, yeah, you could publish or you can tag a DigiAsset that holds an HTML, a website, to a domain. Right now, it's technically not possible, but there is the capability to scale on top of the system. So what you're saying right now is not possible, but technically will be possible in the future if project goes in that direction. But there's a space to build on top of that. So basically, anything is possible right now.
oh, wow, well, that's exciting. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, what's the difference between a URL that ends with a .dgb versus all the common extensions that we use today, like a .com, .org,
The
.io, and
difference,
so.
yeah, the difference is that those domains tag to an IP address, which are servers where we access into websites. We do not type IPs when we go into Google, when we go into Amazon, Facebook, or Twitter. We type a nice domain, a human readable domain, and in the inside browser converts it to a difficult machine IP, and there's where it queries data. The same for domains. We don't need to learn the hard or the difficult address. We just need to learn the domain, and on the inside, the wallet that you're using converts it to an address, converts the domain into an address.
I see. So yeah, so this existing system of the .com websites, I know they fall under the jurisdiction of what is known as ICAAN.
Mm-hmm.
Does the .dgb, is that within that jurisdiction, or does it exist outside of it?
No, right now, as we are a decentralized community, we exist outside of it. I inherited some rules that I can use to manage and how domains can be built. So it inherits some part of the protocol. But right now, that jurisdiction does not apply for domains in general. First of all, because I can work with server names, IPs, and all of that stuff. And these domains are for addresses, for public key hashes on a blockchain.
No. Okay. And is it a situation where because with the current system, you can look up who owns a domain through like Whois. Is there any sort of a similar system with DigiByte domains, or is there the potential there? How
Yeah,
does that work?
for regular domains, for regular World Wide Web domains, we have something that is called Whois, which tells you who has registered that domain, who owns it, and all the information. I know that we are on a space where privacy, where anonymity, and all those values are important. That's one of the foundations cryptocurrency were built of. So, DigiByte Domains does not have any form of KYC. You don't have to register anywhere to have a domain. You only need a DigiByte address. Then but we have a similar system than Whois, which is integrated on the DigiByte Domain website, where you can look which address are pointed by which domain. That way, you know which address holds or which address are represented by any domain you like, or if it's registered. And well, technically, you could know who owns that address if it has been part of the KYC DGAsset protocol process. But if not, then the anonymity is still intact.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, like I said, privacy and anonymity, of course, is very important within the cryptocurrency and blockchain ecosystem. So it's great that you're maintaining that. I do want to ask you. So I know that with when you send DigiByte to this address, yeah, how does it work? Do you need like a special wallet that's enabled to read these addresses?
Okay, so when you want to send DigiByte to a domain, you need a wallet that has the protocol inside of it. To implement this protocol, it's actually just divided in two parts. The part where you can manage domains, like to send them with different addresses that are basically the DigiAsset protocol, and the DigiByte domain part, which is basically when the wallet query which address correspond to which domain. Right now, the first wallet that I'm working on that works with DigiByte domains is the DigiAssetX web wallet. Thank you to Marie Cornelis for helping me on that part. Um, I know that there's been planning that someone has been asking around Twitter question how to implement it on their wallet. I have a few other options that I'm not going to make public yet for just keep things down for a little bit. But yeah, right now DGAssetX is the only wallet that can send to domains. In the future, of course, I would love to add more because this is, or I hope that this can convert itself into one more pillar of the DigiByte ecosystem.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, you always got to start somewhere. And yeah, DigiAssetX, of course, is a great platform that enables version 3 DigiAssets, which really opens the door to a lot of greater functionality of the DigiAsset ecosystem. You know, is this, like, in addition to DigiByte and DigiAssets, can you send other cryptocurrencies, or can you send other data such as peer-to-peer messaging through a DigiByte domain?
Technically, you can, because remember that whatever thing you want, you can do with an address, you can do it with a DigiByte domain because they're pairs, they're equivalent. So if you have an application that uses peer-to-peer messaging on the DigiByte blockchain, the address or the communication method, then sure, you can use a DigiByte domain. If the DigiByte domain tag an address that can do such, that has the ecosystem or the software that allows it to work like that. But yeah, if you want to perform any activity that involves an address, can be replaced with a DigiByte domain. And for wallets to implement this system, it's actually really easy because it only requires a few queries into the DNS, into the DGAsset data, and all that kind of stuff. The thing complicates itself when you want to manage the domains. For example, when you want to send your domain into another address to change the address that is tagged by that domain. But that is part of the DGAsset protocol. So if you have a wallet that can handle DigiAssets, you have a wallet that can handle DigiByte domains. DigiByte domains are DigiAssets, are built on top of the DigiAsset protocol.
Okay. Oh, that's great to know, and great that functionality is kind of built into this technology, and I'm sure that it will only grow over time. One thing you just mentioned, I guess it's important to point out, is that the DigiByte domain is tied to a DigiAsset, which has a UTXO affixed to it, which can be sent really anywhere. However, you really need to make sure that your wallet supports the DigiAsset. Otherwise, it'll just recognize it as any other UTXO, part of the DigiByte coin, which will result in that asset getting burned. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
DigiAssetX are UTXO, so you must be very careful when you trade with them because when you spend it, there's no way back.
Okay, so yeah, you spend it, that asset is burned essentially, and then your domain is gone forever. Is that correct?
Yes, forever. Once the DNS asset is published with a new version with a domain in it, it can't be erased. It has some mechanisms to censor some certain domains if they're used into malicious activity. That is also published on the whitepaper that I published among the website, among the software, among the protocol. But you can't unpublish an asset. That domain will stay there forever. No one can claim that again, of course.
All right, yeah. Well, good to know. Gotta handle that asset carefully, of course, like all of them, just to make sure no accidents happen. You mentioned, you worked with Matthew over at DigiAssetX. So what were some of the challenges that you guys face, and some of the work that you guys collaborated on in order to make DigiByte domains work?
Well, to propose the idea to Matthew, I had to, of course, make a proof of concept. That was the first domain that I issued, which was RenzoDGB. That domain was the first domain that I issued. I actually issued manually. I had to make the transaction not by hand, but with with a non specialized software. And once that asset was issued, I issued the first version of the DNS asset, which is a special asset that ties every reference between a domain name and an asset ID. And after that, I just make a special piece of code, JavaScript code, that converts that name, Renzo.dgb, to an address. Of course, when more domains were added to the DNS asset, that code works as well. And then I managed to check on how DigiAssetX were on the inside, on the front end, on the day-to-day computer. I made the integration. I proposed it via Matthew. Then he will review that idea, make some changes to adapt better into the website ecosystem. And a few months later, because the process to update this, to make this kind of update into websites require a lot of testing and a lot of process on the inside, a few days ago, the changes were live on the website, and we were ready to go to launch. We have some troubles, of course, by when setting up the compatibility between different browsers, but we managed to handle that efficiently. And Matthew is a great programmer. I love how he codes, how he works. His code is quite easy to read. That's actually what I was able to understand how DigiAssets work, because I read from his code to learn that. And I feel that was a great help out on the integration on the DigiAssetX, because he had a lot to do on that part too. This wouldn't have been possible without him. So thanks a lot to him, and well, I will be eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, it's great that you guys could work together, collaborate, and he can help answer your questions and do things on his end on DigiAssetX to incorporate this new functionality of a DigiAsset. What are some things? Are there any features that you have in the pipeline that you're planning on working on to integrate within DigiByte Domains?
I have one that was proposed by Oldest et al., which was to have a special profile picture attached to a domain. That's that's on review right now. I need to see how that will fit on the system, on the protocol right now. I think it's possible. Technically, it is possible. So if that ever happens, and I want that to happen because that will be very interesting. Um, I would love to have that live next year.
Yeah, I think that's it's a great idea, a great feature to incorporate. So not only do you have the human readable name, but now you got like a face or just someone's profile image, whatever if you want to put their cat or dog, I don't know, just people do whatever they want. It's a decentralized world.
Mhm.
What are there any other projects that you have in the works involving DigiByte? In addition to DigiByte Domains.
I have two. One it's an option or a secondary option for authentication on the DGB blockchain that will work among DGID to identify yourself without the need of an internet connection, which is similar to the bank tokens that we use in here in my country to prove ourselves as a second factor authentication to perform bank reactions. Will be called DigiToken, and I will hope that will be part of the DigiByte authentication pillar. It's a way that uses, or it's a small protocol that uses cryptocurrency private keys in order to generate a one-time password. That is kind of technically a little bit secure, a little bit less secure than DJD because it's not a full signature, but it will not require an internet connection, which is a plus in places where you can't reach a good quality connection, right? For example, here in my country, we have that trouble a lot.
Yeah, well, that's
Uh,
great. Yeah, I guess a lot of areas in the world you don't always have a signal, can't connect, and then you don't want to be stuck, waiting for the satellite to move over your head in order to make that connection to process, the authentication. So wow, that's really exciting. Um, so with DigiByte Domains, I know you're selling them for I guess it's around $12 per domain.
Yes.
What is included with that cost, and is it a subscription or is it just like a one-time fee?
Well, it's definitely not a subscription. I hate that kind of of marketing or market proposal. It's a one-time payment. You will receive the domain on your wallet. Of course, it's yours forever. Whatever you do with that digi asset is your thing. But there is a royalty fee on that. So if you want to move it to a new address, for that domain to tag a new address on the system, there's a $2.50 fee to change that domain, or a royalty thing. Um, if dollar crumbles in the future, I would probably raise that for new domains, but the existing ones would always have that fee included. But after that, after the $12 payment you made, then that domain is yours forever.
Okay, well, that's great. Yeah, I personally hate the subscription model too. I'm pretty old school. I remember the days where you paid and then you got whether it was a disc with the key, and then you just used it. And if you wanted to upgrade, yeah, you had to pay a little more. But in many cases, I'm like, well, I'm happy with what I got. Now it's just pay every month or pay the annual subscription. And
Mhm.
a lot of times they offer deals, and you're like, okay, I'll buy into that. And then once that deal is up, you're like, oh, no, I'm paying through the nose for this product. But I'm kind of stuck with it because what else are you going to use?
Mhm.
Um, well, I understand you mentioned that you wanted to do a screen share with
Oh
your
yeah, sure.
DigiByte
Yeah, I
Domains.
want to show everyone how you can buy a domain. I
Okay,
know that I haven't published a tutorial yet. I've been very busy.
of
I
course.
will soon. I will publish that on my YouTube channel. I will tag everyone on Twitter for spread the word. But yeah, I want to show you how you can claim a domain. It usually takes a little bit less than 5 minutes to do so.
Okay,
So let's look for
okay,
it. Okay, I'm going to change to my desktop view. And here it is, the DigiByte Domain website. You only need to type on your browser digibytedomains.com and you will be redirected to this website. The art style is as the rest of my projects, so you can recognize that. Well, here's what you're going to see. Well, this is my DigiByte wallet, so I'm going to put this over here. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if you want to buy a domain, you just need to type here any domain you like. A DGB domain must be between 3 and 64 characters without counting the .dgb. It can handle hyphens on the middle, but it can start or end with one. So let's claim a DGB domain. Let's claim, yes, my last name. I'm gonna look if it's available, and it is available. So I'm gonna send it, or I want to send it to my address, my DGAssetX address. Let me look for it. No, I don't have it. Okay, so that's a problem. That's why in the next subject of this website, this is going to handle domains too. So if I type here my current domain, RenzoDGB, I'm going to be able to send that. I hope that when this go live, this update is already on it. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm going to type, or I'm going to look for my old domain, renzo.dgb, here on the search bar, and I'm going to look which address holds. Now we have this one. This is the Whois information that I was talking about earlier. If you type a domain that already been registered, you can see here all the domain information. Um, in the next update that I have planned for this website, here will going to appear a keyword too. That stuff are already coded, and it's just on the testing part, so it's going to go live in a few days. So I can use this address to buy and look for the ads once again. And I'm going to paste the address that we saw earlier. And I'm going to click on buy. This is going to automatically generate myself an invoice. This invoice is just a regular payment invoice for any product. You have the domain you want to send. This is the destination address that I put. It's censored for you not to misunderstand that address for the payment address. The payment address is the website's internal system payments, where it's going to listen for your payment, and this is the amount to pay, around $12. So I'm going to here my wallet. This is my desktop wallet. So I'm going to send to this address this amount of DigiByte. And that's it. I sent the transaction. Here it is, my transaction number. And we just need to wait for the DigiByte blockchain to confirm this transaction. These websites require 6 confirmations to secure your funds. So per block, you just need to wait a minute and a half approximately for this transaction to be confirmed. I highly recommend, oops, I click on the QR. I highly recommend to stay on the website the whole process, just to make sure your domain gets issued correctly. If there's a problem during this part, you don't need to worry about it, because I have put a lot of filters on the website to make sure each transaction either broadcast to network with correct, or in between, the transaction is not going to be broadcast to the network. Sure, it's going to give you an error here, but your funds are going to be always secure by the website. So you just need to write me a message, tell me, hey Renzo, this happened to me. This is the transaction that I made and my domain haven't arrived. And I will look to the system, I will find the transaction, I will find the problem, and I will help you issue your domain. If you had a problem, for example, you sent twice to an address, sure, I can processes that are generated here are not randomly generated. They come from the same process a wallet uses to generate address via something called hierarchical derivation, which means that with your invoice number and the private keys that I have, well, some were very, very, very secure. I can help you to recover or handle any problem you have during the process. And my domain has already 3 minutes or so. So this is the confirmation screen. You're going to see here, congratulations, your DigiByte domain has been issued, and it will appear in your wallet in a few minutes. This means that your transaction has already been broadcasted to the network, and it's just going to take a few minutes for the wallet you sent this domain to sync. If I want to look for this domain once again, I'm going to see here that it's already been claimed. It's the domain dias.dgb. This is the DigiAsset ID, because remember, your domain is a DigiAsset, which means that can be looked for with an ID like this one. This is the time where you registered the domain. This, after a few minutes, is going to show the address, the asset, and here are all the transactions that were broadcasted to the network in order to issue your domain. The first one is the transaction that collects the funds or the payment from the address you sent to and send it to a special address that is the one responsible for issuing every single aspect of the DigiByte Domains protocol. The second one is a transaction that issues your domain, that issues your DigiAsset. And the final one is a transaction that updates the DNS or the special asset that holds the list. That's finished, your domain has effectively been issued. One quick and fun detail: if you go to the transaction that creates your DigiAsset, you're going to see that the incoming transaction, it's called DName, which is a special address that I created especially for this purpose. DName, because it's the address that name every address on the DigiByte blockchain.
Oh, that's great. Can you lower your page a little more, because your box was blocking that name you just pulled up.
Sorry?
Go back to the page you were just on, and if you could scroll down a little further, because your little picture-in-picture was blocking the.
Okay. Here, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Here.
Okay, so it's DName.
Yeah, this is the transaction.
So that's unique to DigiByte Domains. Every transaction that we purchase domain through your site.
Every single asset, it's issued by these sellers here.
Wow, that is really neat. Yeah. So I'm just curious, like how long have you been working on this platform?
Okay, you see the whiteboard is behind myself. This thing and realizing how this system was going to work. I don't know if the date doesn't hit, so it says March 20, 2022. So around a year ago, I started planning this. And well, this is the diagram that I
Wow.
first made. It's been there all this time until this project was finished. I'm going to erase this in a few days and start working on the next one. But there it is. That's the whiteboard where I put all the ideas.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, I mean, I love what you're doing here, and I love that you've created this platform for the DigiByte community. I know the community is very excited to have it. I know I've already got my own DigiByte domain. It's in my DigiAssetX wallet, Mike.DGB. So I'm excited to have that. And I want to ask you, as a developer who builds on DigiByte, are there any features or aspects of the blockchain itself that you would like to see, implemented that would make it easier for you as a developer to build on DigiByte?
Well, of course, there's always a space to grow. There's always a space to develop. I would love to see or to have access to the more internal things on how blockchain works. I would love to code into the DigiByte scripts that are available, but not yet, not to the general public. I would love to have tools to do that. They don't exist yet, so probably will need to create them myself. But on the blockchain terms, I think that we have a lot of a space right now to play with. This is proof of concept of that. There are a lot of things that can be made on top of the DigiByte blockchain that do not require developers to include that features. Anyone can work on that. This is a permissionless environment, so anyone can come in and work on that. Anyone can come in and build on this, and anyone can come in and make a difference with their ideas, with their development, with projects on top of the DigiByte blockchain.
Yeah, I know the core development team. Of course, they're busy with getting ready to release version 8.2.2 of the core blockchain. As a developer that builds on it, are there any features of that upgrade that you're interested in or excited about, or how does it impact you as a developer?
I'm looking for the multiple signatures on transactions and the Taproot type transactions to be implemented in the DGB blockchain. I would love to play with that. They're available on Bitcoin, but we know that Bitcoin is quite expensive and the Bitcoin testnet is quite slow. So I would love to see that features on the DGB blockchain to be able to play with them in real time.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. I love talking to you. I love talking about your ideas and what you're building. Are there any topics or things about DigiByte Domains that we haven't covered yet you'd like to discuss?
Well, I will like to invite everyone to read the paper or document that is on the DigiByte Domains website. It's basically the whole idea written up and synthesized in simple way for everyone to understand. It's really similar, or I tried to write it as similar as possible to the Bitcoin white paper in order to synthesize better the ideas and for you to understand that this system works and it's just made to work and to make things easier on the community, on your life today, on your day to day. And well, there is the look for it. And if you want to make any suggestions, I'm free and I'm only here to listen. That just DM me in Telegram and we can chat about it.
Nice. That's great. Well, we'll make sure to put links down below in the description to that white paper, and of course, to DigiByte Domains and all your other handles. Renzo, thank you so much for taking the time to come onto the show and talk more about all the projects you're working on, especially DigiByte Domains. As I said, myself and other members of the community are extremely excited about it. Congratulations. I know, as you said, you've been working on it for over a year, so it's been a labor of love, but it looks like the moment has finally arrived. You've launched. It's been successful. It's working. Everyone's excited about it. So thank you for all you do for the community and all that you do for DigiByte, and thank you for coming on to the show. And we hope to have you on again sometime soon.
Sure. I will always be happy to come here. Thank you for listening to me, for hear out my ideas, and to give me a window to express myself to the community.